Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Saving Mumbai show. My name is Anupam Gupta, B50 on Twitter. On today's episode, my guest, Mumbai North Central District Forum, MNCDF. The Twitter handle is at MNCDF Bombay. My guest, Advocate Trivankumar Karnani, who runs this organization that interacts. It's a platform between us as citizens and the civic authorities. On this show, we are going to talk about some of the most common problems faced by all of us in Mumbai: potholes, dug up roads, utilities, fallen trees, footpaths, and much more. Trivan, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
Wonderful. So, first of all, tell us about the organization, because I came to know about it on Twitter. Of course, now it's called X.
Right,
There's a lot of work that you guys did in the lockdown.
Right.
Let's start from what the organization is about.
So, Mumbai North Central, as you mentioned, is the constituency where I reside. And about a decade ago, I was studying law. And, I always knew that I wanted to get into criminal law. And then is when I thought, how do I balance my karma? And I was very socially oriented. I had like this activism element always in me. So I thought, to balance my karma, maybe I can use my knowledge of law to empower the common man, to empower citizens. And with that thought, MNCDF began. And so MNCDF, then about a decade ago, I was one single person.
Yeah.
Cut to today, we are more than 150
Wow.
core citizen activists that are spread across Mumbai metropolitan region, which includes Mumbai, Vasai Virar, Navi Mumbai, Mira Bhayandar, Thane. So we have citizen activists across the MMR region working under MNCDF's umbrella to resolve citizen grievances, civic issues, redress basic issues such as roads, drainage, trees, footpaths, and also work towards the larger public interest or matters concerning the larger public interest, whether it be, infrastructure, whether it be certain issues that are not being resolved, or whether it be enhancement of public infrastructure, transportation. So, we work in multiple arenas.
Yeah, and there's a lot to talk about, lot to understand. The list of issues
Absolutely.
that you gave are also seems to be endless.
Absolutely.
So Trivan, I think one place that we could start from is just understanding in Bombay who does what.
Correct.
Okay, because we both stay somewhere in the same area.
Right.
Anybody who stays in Bombay knows that you wake up in the morning, you go to work, you catch a rickshaw or a bus, the first thing you see is everything is dug up. Okay, and the names keep on changing. Okay,
Correct.
Can you just help us understand from a very conceptual level who does what in Bombay?
So the problem with Mumbai city is that we have multiple authorities who are taking care of, same issue. For example, let us take roads as the most common factor. So the highways and bridges on the highways, many of them come under the MMRDA.
Yeah.
Or you could say the Bandra-Worli Sea Link or the new MTHL, these come under the MSRDC.
Correct.
Which is another body. Then we have the lanes, the streets of Mumbai, which fall within BMC. Yeah. So the issue here is that at first, when a citizen wants to resolve an issue, he doesn't know whose door to knock.
Exactly.
And first, this is what MNCDF does, is identifies the competent authority under whom this particular issue falls. And thereafter, we go to the next steps.
So let's start with a very common problem, okay, and all of us see it. Roads are being dug up. Sometimes it is concretization, sometimes it is stormwater, sometimes it is utilities, sometimes it is everything. Okay, so first will come concretization of the road, okay, done. Now suddenly they'll dig up that entire concrete. It's happening at Waterfield Road, I can see
Correct.
it. Where the drainage is then replaced.
Correct.
Now, is there any method is there any method to this madness? Or can anybody just come up one fine day in the morning and dig a road?
This is what it has unfortunately come down to. And to magnify the issues that we are facing of roads being dug up within Mumbai limits, I would blame the BMC, the bureaucracy of BMC, its employees, for the absolute mismanagement and dereliction of duty has led us to this state that there is no coordination within departments. You will see the Central Roads Department has dug up one road, has redone the road. 2 months later, the Stormwater Drain Department wants to come dig up the same road. Thereafter, the MGL gas pipeline will want to come
Exactly.
do the same thing. So as of now, from my understanding of resolving citizen grievances, there is no structure within the BMC where they can coordinate amongst the departments internally, see the map, underground map of a certain road which they are going to break, dig, and make sure that all authorities install whatever the hell they want to at that point of time. And it is because of this mismanagement. And sometimes I feel this dereliction of duty is orchestrated by these officers for a vested interest, quid pro quo relations with contractors. And I see this as a massive nexus which is going on. You go in the outskirts of Mumbai, the roads are in such a decent condition. Today you use the old road of Mumbai Karjat.
Yeah, yeah.
It is a tar road, but the roads are such good quality. It has been, the quality of materials used is so good that they don't get spoiled. Whereas in Mumbai, our local roads, every 3 months they're being dug up. Let us say the roads that are not being dug up are full of potholes.
Yeah.
So I see this as a huge nexus which is leading to this lack of coordination amongst departments and this dereliction of duty by officials.
So you also interact with a lot of politicians and NGOs and a lot of authorities who are in charge of this. When you speak to them, do you bring this up? What's their reply?
Very unfortunately, since the past, I think 2 years, there have been no corporators because the BMC elections have not come up. So there is an absolute lack of transparency. There is no checks and balance on the bureaucracy of the BMC. Whereas when there were corporators, there used to be existence of a standing committee. Our municipal corporators would be our medium to coordinate with the BMC officials, put our suggestions and objections on certain things, make sure it's done. But now, due to the lack of a standing committee, there are no checks and balances. So there's no accountability.
Yeah.
And
why haven't the BMC elections not happened?
I feel the BMC elections are not happening is a completely political issue. Okay. There is no reason why BMC elections should not have happened in the last 2 years.
Something about delimitation or something.
It is
caste or
all these are vague.
Census.
They could have definitely done the procedure what they had to for demarcation and everything, and it was almost done previously. But for the political tussle which is on in Maharashtra, I believe for those reasons the BMC elections have not been carried out, because of which the citizens like you and me are the biggest losers and are suffering at the hands and whims and fancies of these officials.
So here's the question I've always wanted to ask. If there are no cooperators, because their terms have gotten over 2 years ago, okay, that's
correct.
If they're term to term.
Correct.
Who's running the BMC? Who's signing these contracts to be given to people, and how is this work happening?
It is being run, so when there is no cooperators, so the BMC's commissioner is assigned as the administrator who handles all this and his team. So for, like you said, for the projects, we have additional commissioner projects, we have additional commissioner for roads department, we have the central roads department. It is these engineers, these officials who are sanctioning projects, left, right and center without application of mind with vested interests.
Siva, now that you understood the problem and we've spoken a lot about it, who's responsible, BMC election not happening, cooperators not being there, let's get to the solution, right? Because one of the things that we like to discuss on this show is what can I do as a citizen? Of course, I can keep on cribbing. Now there is social media also, thankfully. And I don't know what your thoughts are about the BMC also being very proactive on social media. I've seen your handle often take them to task because they believe in, putting out a certain type of message, whereas the complaints are still not attended to.
Correct.
So can you just help us with what is the procedure here? Like if I want to raise something with the BMC.
So if you want to raise a complaint, I have broken this down into two methods. One is the conventional method and one is the modern method. Under the conventional method, it is, how when we were not digitalized, we were not savvy with social media, we would, either visit the BMC office, meet the concerned, go to the department, meet the officer, or we would call on the landline numbers of these particular wards. BMC has 24-25 wards.
Correct.
And every ward office has a number, contact number, and every ward office has a dedicated complaint officer.
Wow.
Who is obligated to take your complaints, forward it to the concerned department, and they give you a complaint number, and thereafter you follow up on that complaint number until you see that the issue has been resolved. A lot of times when the officers come to resolve the complaint, they also call the complainant that, we've come here, this is the issue, and this is the thing. So this is the conventional method where we either go physically to the ward office or we call them. And now we have the modern method. Under the modern method, there are a lot of ways where you can use digital media to kind of make this complaint or to make sure that the grievance reaches the concerned department.
Right.
And I'll give you one example. For example, like Twitter, X. BMC has an official grievance redressal mechanism on Twitter, wherein there is an agency appointed by the BMC which is paid about 2 crores per annum to run this mechanism.
Wow.
They also have a dedicated WhatsApp number. They have a website. They have an email address. So we can use all these methods to, put forth our complaint to them. So like you said, on Twitter, you see a lot of our complaints. So the process that we follow, because MNCDF has citizen activists who come from different walks of lives. Like myself, I'm a lawyer. We have, businessmen, we have professionals, and they all are working. We have employees. So, they may not be able to physically go and make the complaint, but this method helps, such as, putting the complaint on Twitter. So the BMC takes cognizance of the complaint, and thereafter they take about a week to resolve it. Until the previous agency was there, the grievance redressal mechanism was very strong, very robust. However, now once again, I believe that the BMC's Twitter grievance mechanism has weakened over time. However, we still have other options. The municipal commissioner, the ward officers have email addresses. Today, all it takes is draft a 5-line complaint, put the photos, email it to the municipal commissioner, email it to the ward officer, and subsequently you receive a reply. You follow up on it. If it does not get resolved, you escalate it. You escalate it to the chief secretary, escalate it to the chief minister's office. You send them emails, you create a record. And when you create that record, that is what acts as a pressure on these officials to act on the complaints. Because this record that you're creating is a legal record, which if the officer does not resolve within stipulated period, I can pull him to court.
Wow.
I can drag him to criminal courts for dereliction of duty. I can drag him to the civil courts. I can drag him to secure my constitutional rights.
Sure.
So these officials understand the power of black and white. And therefore, they tend to redress the grievances when they see that, complaints are coming in black and white.
Yeah.
So, I think the easy method is Twitter. Then, you put down an email to them. Also, a very good method which I discovered with my team of, members who have been raising issues on the BMC's website.
Sure.
There is a ward directory.
Okay.
Which, if you download, gives you the details of every officer of every department of every ward.
Right.
Sneak into their WhatsApp, download their number, message them on WhatsApp, tell them this is my complaint, I am a citizen, I am residing over here, please take action. So, they also get a little hesitant that now you have their mobile number and you're going to chase them and make sure that your grievance is redressed.
Very interesting.
And if they don't do it, then of course we have laws
Yeah.
which we quote to them. There have also been instances where they have not resolved certain issues, and we have gone ahead and sent them notices, sent them seek sanction to prosecute them under criminal law from their superiors. So these are certain guerrilla methods, I would say, to push them to redress the grievance and to fulfill their legal obligation and duty for which they take salaries.
Yeah, and so all this is possible. It's us who have to put in the
Absolutely.
effort. I wanted to help me out here and to understand the work that your organization does. If I were to ask you to make a list of the most common complaints that are there in Mumbai, sorry, what would that be? I mean, what are the most serious
The
issues?
three
on
most
which-
common complaints in Mumbai, and we've done 3 campaigns over it. The number one was illegal political hoardings.
Oh yeah,
We did a campaign called Stop Defacing Mumbai with the Free Press Journal and 2 other community organizations that we work very closely with, and they are part of us. One is Mumbai Matters and one is Roads of Mumbai.
Roads of Mumbai. Yeah.
So 3 of us did this. Then the second issue we face is open garbage. If you see around slums, they don't follow the rules, they don't follow laws, there's no decorum. They go and just chuck the garbage on the streets.
Sure.
And because of that, residents around get harrowed. So we had another campaign called the Litter Free Mumbai, which we did in collaboration with Midday,
Okay.
wherein we invited citizens to give us complaints of open litter, which was then forwarded by MNCDF's team to the concerned wards, and where issues were not being addressed, Midday's team would intervene and speak to the officials. And something similar we did with Free Press Journal for Stop Defacing Mumbai.
Okay.
The third one which we did, and this is a very significant one, is free our footpaths.
Okay.
Our footpaths are completely encroached, and whether encroached by illegal hawkers, just encroached by
Two-wheelers
two-wheelers parked on it,
or just pots of plants.
pots of or the ones which are not encroached are broken or not existing.
Yeah.
So we did this campaign, Roads of Mumbai, Mumbai Matters and MNCDF. Our 3 organizations got together, and what we did is we got MNCDF has this wing called the Flying Squad, where citizens across the city, they are like a flying squad on the move. They spot an issue. So MNCDF's Flying Squad got together. We took a baby pram,
Okay.
and we shot how footpaths in the city are unable to be used. You cannot walk on a footpath straight. There has to be there is an obstruction.
Yeah.
Despite Supreme Court and Bombay High Court's fleet of judgments, these judgments are not being followed by officials in letter and spirit. And we continue to see that our footpaths are in a bad state. In fact, a recent study said that hardly 10% of Bandra is walkable.
Yeah.
So, this is one issue that we've been running campaigns on. And, even citizens wanting to come and complain, but when they complain against illegal hawkers, unfortunately, because of the corrupt nexus of the BMC's encroachment officers with these illegal hawkers and the constant hafta that is going, the names of the complainants are getting
I
leaked.
saw the news about that. Yeah.
And because of that,
They get
because
threatened.
of that, citizens are getting threatened and intimidated.
Yeah.
And to combat this, we came out with an initiative called the MNCDF Anonymous.
Sure.
So now we invite complaints from citizens, we verify the genuineness of the complaints, and then MNCDF puts it out.
Amazing.
So just so as to make sure that let these illegal gangsters and mafias know
Yeah.
that there is a big team involved of lawyers, of professionals, of educated people who are standing up in arms against any kind of illegality. See, I very well understand that it is also a matter of livelihood for them.
Correct.
But they are earning enough money to get rent. What is a vada pav or a pani puri guy earning
have
in a
no
month?
idea. Yeah.
They are earning lakhs of rupees. So they definitely can afford rentals, but then the thing is, it is the nexus
Yeah.
that is not allowing us to kind of, let our footpaths be free despite so many judicial precedents.
And yet it's nothing happens on the ground. And
Exactly. And this is why MNCDF is so impact oriented, that we make sure if we get a complaint of a hawker and if it is not being resolved, we make sure to send a criminal notice to the encroachment officer and put his neck in line.
Yeah.
So,
For citizens, do you think it's a motivational issue? For some, it's indifference. कि कुछ नहीं होता है, so why should I even try? For some, there is probably fear, that if I do something, you get intimidated by those people. And for some, it's just ignorance. So is there a message that you have about even the citizens, who believe that nothing is possible, and here you are sitting that you're saying that there are mechanisms, there are redressal options, you can try out all of them. So any message?
absolutely. I have a message for today's Gen Zs.
Yeah.
I'm a millennial myself, so I think they really have the energy to bring about the change. When we were, in our early 20s, when I started MNCDF when I was hardly 23, 24. So, and today it's a decade later. So, I think the Gen Zs can really make the difference.
Sure.
And I think they can start making the difference by going to vote this time for the upcoming elections. And they all are technologically very savvy. All it would take for them to raise an issue is take a photograph, put down a mail, or tweet the complaint. And I think it will do wonders if citizens collectively gather. Today, MNCDF is MNCDF. It is Mumbai's most effective citizen welfare forum. Why? Because of our collective network and flying squad of citizens across MMR who are our eyes, who are our hands, and who are the messiah for their local residents.
Yeah.
So,
and where do they go? So first is social media. Let's say that you have an account on Twitter, you can tag them there. The more important and the more interesting part that I found in what you said was that on the BMC website itself, there are details of whatever, we don't have councillors right now, corporators right now, but we will, hopefully by the end of this year.
Correct.
So they should go there, check out the numbers, and they can actually contact the people. That you think
Contact the concerned officer,
Yeah.
send him the issue,
Yeah.
speak to the complaint officer of the ward. This is the conventional method. For the modern method, like I mentioned, BMC is there on Twitter. And that is the official redressal mechanism for which BMC pays 2 crores of the taxpayers' money per annum. So it is our money that is going to this agency. Make sure that आप अपना काम निकालो उनसे.
And each ward has a dedicated Twitter account.
Exactly. And I'll tell you, we have gone to the extent when our grievance is not being addressed, we contact the agency.
Wow.
Directly.
Okay.
That you are taking 2 crore rupees from the BMC.
Huh.
So why are you not taking cognizance of the complaint?
Yeah.
And then they quickly take it.
Okay.
So I should give them that credit.
So here we are in the month of April, and in a few months, everybody's favorite season
The monsoons
is going to come, and potholes are going to come back. Now, I don't know. They're saying obviously concrete roads can't have potholes, but we've dug up enough for that to.
So I'll tell you on this. I was just thinking about this monsoons only when I was coming here on my way, and amid the traffic. This time I feel in the monsoons, it's not going to be a problem about potholes.
Oh, okay.
I feel this time we're going to have a very unique problem.
What is that?
The city is completely dug up. The roads are completely dug up. Suddenly, 2 months before the monsoons, the stormwater drain department has woken up from its slumber, and now they want to repair stormwater drains. Now our stormwater drains are all under repair.
Yeah.
Whether they will be able to complete the repair, whether these roads that are under half of Mumbai is dug up, whether they will be able to complete all this before the monsoons. And then on the other hand, we'll have the silt contractors who will come in, remove the silt from the drains, keep it beside the drain. It will languish there for 15, 20 days to a month. Half of it will go back into the drain. So this is a yearly phenomena that we see. And I think this is not just BMC's competence, but it's corruption, it's dereliction of duty. It's a mixture of couple of factors, And this season, more than potholes, we are going to face dug up roads that are not completed, stormwater drains that are still under repair, we might, so the low-lying areas are definitely going to see flooding, and then BMC to quickly kind of, come back and, try to counter that. They will put those small motor pumps.
Yeah.
But these are still not concrete solutions for the city. What ideally we should be having with BMC's annual budget of 50,000 crores, I think being Asia's richest civic body and the most incompetent also.
Let's just hope that, this time is different. Let's just hope that they have some options for us.
We hope to.
Yeah. And listeners and viewers, the handle, like I said, is MNCDF Bombay on Twitter. Mumbai North Central District Forum. Again, Mumbai North Central is the Lok Sabha constituency that covers a huge area from Bandra on the west to Chandivali and Kurla on the east. Trivan, thank you for doing this. Any closing messages to our viewers?
Yeah,
listeners,
definitely. I'd like to add a caveat. So now we resolve grievances across Mumbai metropolitan region.
Time to change the name of the organization.
I was actually considering that, but then, I think MNCDF is right now become a fear factor amongst offices.
Okay.
Again, amongst, authorities. They feel, that fear, MNCDF hai, iska jaldi issue resolve kar do, like it's become a fear factor. And for that fear factor, I was a little skeptical about the name change part of it.
Sivan, I know that during the lockdown, which was a very difficult period for all of us, especially in Bombay also, your organization did a lot of efforts at that point of time. I think from distributing food, raising funds, helping people in need. Talk to us about that.
So, sir, even I didn't expect that the organization and our team could, help at the magnitude that they did. And thanks to good Samaritans like you who empowered us, supported us and helped us. So this was a small COVID relief booklet that, we made after this was done. So, we had formed a digital war room wherein our MNCDF's flying squad that would generally look into civic accountability and civic issues switched, and we had a virtual war room where we were resolving and working on every kind of complaint.
I'm just seeing that. Yeah.
At the beginning, when there were no face shields and no equipments for hospitals,
8,352 face shields were given.
Exactly. So we did a fundraiser. We got some face shields. Same with masks. All this was done through collaborations. Then, we distributed ration kits to around 3,500 kinners. It was Mr. Manish Mundra who then extended help to us. And, he said, please go out there, arrange it. And he was the one who sponsored it all for them. So, gratitude to good Samaritans who came forward. Then, there were ration kits that we had kept on distributing. Then we had another very, very helpful lady named Miss Apurva Purohit, who had read an article in the newspapers about pregnant women not getting nutritional
So she's the ex-CEO, I think, of Radio City. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So she reached out and she said that please see how we can help these pregnant women. Yeah. She empowered us with these nutritional kits where we went, with the author of the story, then Miss Kavita. And we distributed to the pregnant women over there with the medications and whatever they required, during COVID. Then there was this other, one of our core members, Miss Reshma Doshi. She had this idea of how do we empower underprivileged children who are unable to visit schools. And, they did not have smart devices. So we started this campaign called Aid to Educate, wherein we took devices that were not being used from citizens. We had a verification process and we handed it to underprivileged children who could then use it at home and study.
So huge.
So, we had a lot of these initiatives. Then we had this public politician partnership initiative wherein we got in touch with our elected representatives, our politicians, and we became the medium to empower these public hospitals and the underprivileged people through them. So, for example, Mr. Rahul Kanal, he gave us around 1,000 to 2,000 face shields, which we first handed to KEM Hospital. They never had these equipments. Then the MLA of Bandra East, Mr. Zishan Siddiqui, he gave us hand sanitizers and, he gave us food for strays. He gave us the digital thermometers, which we conducted a verification of, and thereafter we distributed it to government hospitals, NGOs, organizations. Mr. Ashish Shelar, who helped us with fresh foods for cancer patients. Then there was a NGO, they had kids, who did not have access to their nutritional food because of the lockdown. Everything was shut. So Mr. Shelar, personally arranged fresh vegetables, and Miss Poonam Mahajan, we reached out to her. So, this public politician partnership initiatives really helped and empowered the people. And honestly, before COVID, even we didn't know that we had such a wide area of expertise. And that's why I have so much faith in collective action, in community building, because it is communities that can get together and bring the change that you cannot imagine that we can bring. So
rather than just sitting and complaining.
Absolutely.
It's a huge, I'm just looking at the size of the effort out there, and well done for that.
Thank you so much. And honestly, the credit goes to the entire team. And, on the last page, I really genuinely wanted to mention their names.
Of course.
So these were the names who were part of our core team.
They're there on the screen, and hats off to them.
So, they were the foot soldiers who really helped us and made a difference. Even after after COVID was over and we had the vaccines that then came out, MNCDF worked, we organized the first private vaccination drive called the Mumbai Vaccination Drive at Podar School. Then we had our next vaccination drive.
Outskirts of Bombay.
Exactly, for the tribals at Palghar, because they were not having access to vaccines. So SBI Foundation came forward, Nanavati came forward, they empowered us. Good citizens like you empowered us. And I think unitedly and collectively, we did good for society. And I think that's what matters, the impact.
And we should remember that, because it's been 4 years, but that time
Definitely.
of 1 month or 2 months or something, that we should always remember.
And so, sometimes I still get calls. I still remember that there was a pregnant mother, and her husband used to keep calling me. He wasn't getting a pregnant hospital who would take a pregnant mother. Finally, she delivered twins.
Wow.
Until date, they contact me and they express gratitude, So I think these are small, touching stories that, really keeps us going and keeps us going to take up challenges and
Wonderful to
and
hear
do
that.
good for society and build the community. And I enjoy community service. So
Perfect. Keep up the good work.
I guess it's my passion too.
Sure. Yeah, but I wish you all the very best, and thank you so much for doing this for our listeners.
Thank you so
Like I said, folks, the handle MNCDF on Bombay. Advocate Trivankumar Karnani, thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Grateful.